Hello, this is Simone, and I have here Karina from Karina Loves to Plan with me. We are on our second video. Why don't you say hi?
Hi, everybody. I'm Karina of Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you, Simona, for having me on your channel today.
We are talking about the San Francisco Pen Show and our experiences. And on your channel, we talked about how we went into the show, what we prepared for, what our goals, fears, anxieties were. And now we are at my channel, and we are talking about what we are actually glad that we did, what we wish we would have done differently, and maybe if we have any tips for future Pen Show visitors, what we would like to tell them to prepare for. Okay, so what are you glad that you did at the show?
First and foremost, the thing that I'm so glad that I did was I got over my fear. And the first person that I saw at the Pen Show in my hotel lobby, even before I checked into the hotel, was Drew Brown. And I was courageous enough to just walk up to him and be like, hey, I'm Karina. I've messaged you on Instagram a few times. And he's like, yeah, I know you. And it was just, I was always going to be scared of walking up to people and be like, I know you from YouTube, blah, blah, blah. But Drew was so welcoming, so kind, exactly like he is on YouTube. You know, that's not an act at all. He is exactly like he is on YouTube. And that interaction, I think, set the tone for the whole show for me. So that was one thing I was really glad that I did, that I wasn't scared of just going up to people and be like, I know you.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I mean, you probably had the same experience with people coming up to you, just like you did with Drew. And I always try to be very genuine in my response and just, it takes courage to walk up to someone and just say, hey, I know you, and then waiting for their reaction. But yeah, I brought stickers to the show. I had made something and I thought, oh, wow, this would be a cool sticker. Then I found a great deal and then I made stickers. And that was something that I'm really glad I did, because it was such an easy icebreaker for me. I could just push that sticker into anybody's face and say, hey, I have a sticker for you here.
I have it. Hold on. I have it still because I'm going to put all of these stickers onto my suitcase so that my suitcase is easily identifiable whenever I travel. So it'll be no, I loved getting the stickers, and I loved what you said. You just shoved them into people's face.
I didn't think much of it when I made them, but now that I'm back, I'm like, next year I need to have another sticker, because that was so helpful for me to just walk up to other people and talk to them, because otherwise I might have like lingered and didn't know what to say. But this was so helpful for me to talk to someone and just give it to them. I shoved one into Mike from Independence's face, and I gave one. Basically everyone I saw, I gave them a sticker.
And you're not the only one who did that too. There were so many people who gave stickers, and like you said, it's a great icebreaker. I have a whole
I brought many home with me as well. Yeah, but that was something that I didn't think I needed, but I think I need another one next year. Now I have a year time to come up with another fun sticker.
No, and I think, one of the things that we talked about in my video is that, speaking to people was definitely an anxiety, but we both found ways to overcome that.
Yes, definitely. And overall, for me, it was a really good experience to talk to everyone that I did.
And I think one of the things that we get scared about is, like, are they going to actually talk to me? Or are they going to, or maybe this is just in my head, but, are they going to talk to me? They're going to think that I'm weird and awkward. And then I think, no, everybody thinks that way. Most people are going to wonder, they think I'm awkward. Am I, how am I going to fit in? But then when you're in a crowd that has the same niche interests like fountain pens and fountain penning and stationery, it's very easy to find something to talk about.
Yes, that is definitely true. And I usually consider myself an introverted person, but I surprised myself with being very extroverted when I was there. And it's probably because that same interest connects us all, and we don't really have to figure out, is this person on my wavelength, because they are all on the same wavelength when it comes to fountain pens. So it's super easy to talk to the people. You don't have to, I don't even know how to say it, but I'm always really awkward when I don't know how to start a conversation. And I wonder if the other person on the other side waits for me to, like, when is she finally going to start talking to me? How long is she going to stand here and touch my products? But yeah, that's not happening at the pen show, because everybody loves fountain pens. So what are we talking about? We talk about fountain pens.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny that you say that you felt extroverted at the show, because I definitely did as well. Like for Friday night at the pen show after dark, there were a few people at the Aloft Hotel, like was it Elisa from Inky Rocks, Mike from Independence was there, Annabelle, and was it Aiden Bernal was there too, and there were a lot of people. And I mean, obviously I'd had like a couple drinks at that point, so I was a little bit at ease anyway, but it really helped that everybody was around this table playing with washi, playing with their pens, and it was just easy to go, oh, you've got that pen, and start that conversation that way, rather than just walking up to somebody and being like, hi. It's a different situation for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So are there things that you regret?
My budget.
The
I was very conservative with my
Okay.
budget. I was very conservative with my budget. And I think I was also very, what's the word? I think I was just very, I had high aspirations for what I could say no to.
Mhm.
I think I went in there going, okay, I only need, or I only want to buy this and this and this. I'm not going to look at anything else. So I wasn't, there wasn't really any leeway there for me. So I think if I go back next year with I don't want to say flexible budget, because we need a budget, but with a higher budget, it will allow me a bit more flexibility to look at other things.
True. So, okay, I have a follow-up question though. Because when Leanne and I started these whole video conversations, we talked about these 8 pen questions, and one of them was that limit on pens. And I remember that you and I, we both were very much, I only want a small amount of pens, and I can't get more than that specific number. So has that changed now?
It has. And I feel like it's similar to you, because I watched that video where you said, yeah, that answer has changed for you. And I feel very similar, because my tastes change and grow over time. And as I bring in new pens into my collection, there have been some that I've sold because they no longer are my taste, or they no longer bring me joy, things like that. For example, in the month of August, literally after I came home from the San Francisco Pen Show, I sold my Pilot E95S within a day.
Yeah.
And there's probably another pen that I'm going to be selling later on this week. So the amount of pens that are coming in are almost the same as the amount of pens going out of the collection, which makes me a little bit more comfortable with my collection number not being so rigid.
Yeah.
But also there's just so many pretty ones out there that I haven't seen yet. So
Yeah. I thought about that today, when I was like, okay, so the next pens that I'm looking at is Pelican and Sailor. They're expensive, so it's not like I'm going to buy them next week. But then what am I going to do next year at the San Francisco Pen Show? Am I just not buying anything? That doesn't sound like me. And it's also, those makers make so beautiful pens. I would feel really bad if I couldn't support them. So I'm at 36 pens right now. So
I have to look now. My spreadsheet is on.
I just watched your video. I think you're at 32 or 33.
We're at there were 2 more purchased this week. So
Okay.
I'm at 34.
Okay. Yeah. See, so we're pretty similar, but that
Yeah.
if I would limit my pen number, then I wouldn't be able to go to it wouldn't make sense for me to go to another pen show. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that, because I really like all the pens at the moment. All of the pens that I have in my collections are pens that I like. And of course, as you just said, that might change over time, but what if it doesn't? So I don't know where I'm going with that question, but I just wanted to know what your stance is on that. I definitely do not have a number anymore, for sure. Maybe it's something else then. Maybe it's like, okay, now I'm feeling saturated with pens, or I don't know.
I know what you mean by that, though. I think at the beginning of the year, I had set a goal for only wanting to purchase like 1 pen a month. That did not happen from like March onwards. So it's already September, and in March that goal just was out the window.
Yeah.
But I was okay with letting go of that, because I looked at why I set that goal in the first place. I think I set that goal in the first place because I was afraid of my number getting too high. And now that I'm doing things like 30 inks, 30 days, where I'm going through all of my pens, even if only for a day, being able to use all of them,
yeah,
I'm a lot more comfortable with that number being
yeah,
where it is, and maybe even getting a little higher because of how I use my pens now. And when it comes to budget, I think budget wasn't necessarily part of setting that goal for me. It was more just making sure that I had a number that I was comfortable using regularly. And I think I am. There are still, like you said, pens on my list that no, I'm not going to purchase them next week, but there are pens on my list that I do want to eventually purchase over the next 5-6 months or something like that. But I don't think that will deter me from going to a pen show, because I think with anything in the creative space or anything in retail, there's always something new coming out.
Yeah,
there's always something new.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to remain open to that, while also knowing that I don't have to own everything that comes out.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think I had a similar reason why I set that number, because I just felt that that pens were coming in to my collection too fast, too many too fast. And I didn't allow myself the experience of each new pen. And that takes time, and just like having that time. So at the pen show, I purchased, what did I buy? Oh yeah, I purchased 2 new pens and a nib that I then bought a housing for. So I bought 3 pens, complete pens. And I already know now that it's like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks after the show, I have inked the second one of them today. I haven't inked the third one yet. And because I'm doing 30 inks, 30 days, I'm only experiencing those pens for just one day. That is not enough to actually get to know the pen. It's just a first impression. And so giving myself that time and not getting something else tomorrow is what I bought 3 pens instead of just one, but I need then also allow a lot of time before I make another pen purchase. Except for Esterbrook, I think.
If Brian is listening, yeah, Esterbrook is an exception. And funny enough that you mentioned that, and well, not Esterbrook per se, but one of the pens that I bought just this week after the pen show was a Leonardo Furore, because once I had tried, and actually that was one of the things I was glad that I did, was try different sizes of pens. You know, I tried the Pelican M800, I tried the Leonardo Momento Zero and the Furore, and I really liked that size. And once I get it in my head that I like a specific size, I found a pen that was actually on sale on Reddit for a good price, and then I bought it.
Yeah, I mean, that's also why we go to the pen shows, so that we can have these writing experiences with different pens. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I'm glad that I did that. In terms of, you know, like what I said, that I regret my budget, but mostly because I think I was coming into it unprepared, but also with very, you know, rigid restrictions on myself. Not saying that like I don't want to not have a budget, but I want to, like I said, allow for more flexibility. So yeah. Did we move on to the next question? What we would have done differently?
Yeah, we can totally move on to that.
What I wish I would have done differently is probably stay longer.
Yeah.
I was only there for really Friday night and the Saturday, and then left first thing Sunday. I wish I could have done at least 2 days at the show. At least 2 days.
Yeah, I think I would probably, if I have the time to do that, I would probably actually come Thursday, spend the day on Friday at the show, maybe experience Pen Show After Dark on Friday, and then not even go to the show on Saturday.
Saturday was crazy.
It was so busy and overwhelming, and I think San Francisco is a great city, so there's lots of things to do there, and then come back on Sunday maybe just to hang out with people and meet people. But yeah,
I came in on Friday afternoon, and once I checked in, I actually took an Uber into the city, and I went to a bakery called Tartine and spent way too much money on pastry. But I also walked around the area for a little bit and saw Mission Dolores Park, which was beautiful. And I think, you know, if I had more time, I would have spent a little bit more time in town as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you're there, you should actually go and look at the Golden Gate Bridge in person.
The last time I was in San Francisco, I think I was maybe 19 or 20. And when we went to see the Golden Gate Bridge, it was covered in fog, so we didn't really see it.
Okay. Yeah, that happens quite a lot.
So yeah, I would definitely stay longer next time. And my husband was saying that, you know, he would love to come, and I'm like, well, you know what? And this was actually an idea that Rich of River City Penco said he might do. Said, you know, bring his family the weekend before so that they can do all the touristy things the week leading up to. And then family goes home right before the pen show, and then I stay there for Friday, Saturday, and then head home Sunday.
That sounds like a really cool plan, actually. Yeah. I think the one thing that I would have liked to do differently is I would love to be there for an After Dark thing. That feels like I missed out, but it's okay. I was tired and I had a great time, but still, sometimes it's like, oh, I wish I could have gone.
I do have to say the one After Dark that I experienced really was almost by accident because of you know, with the pen show being at 2 different hotels, it was almost like things were happening at different places. And I was lucky that, you know, Corolla and I were just having a couple drinks in the Aloft bar, and I saw Lisa of Inky Rocks, and I immediately started fangirling, and I said, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to meet you. And then I saw she was sitting with Mike from Independence and Aidan Bernal and Annabelle. I'm like, okay, can we just, sit with you and start talking? And sometimes those things just happen organically and spontaneously, and definitely something that if you have the energy for to stick around for. Although I'm no longer in my 20s, so I shouldn't have had what I had for drinks, because Saturday, I don't know if I told you, but most of the day Saturday I had a hangover.
Okay.
I was walking around with a very bad headache for most of Saturday.
But you still managed to connect with people and have a great time at the show. So
I hit it very well.
As you're making yourself here.
I hit that very well. What else would you have done differently, if anything?
So I struggled with one specific thing. I kept looking for my phone and my wallet all the time. Like, I put it in my bag, and then 5 seconds later, I wouldn't remember that I did. And then I started frantically looking through all of my pant pockets, my jacket, and then I would look into my bag, and then I wouldn't see it right away. And then I would start panicking because maybe I left it at a table somewhere. And so I think, and my friend Shauna from Serial Nana, she's also on YouTube here, she sent me a link to something that is like a belt that has 2 pockets, one for the phone and one for the wallet. And I think when I'm going next time, I will have something like that. Look ridiculous, but I don't care. Where I know that I'm going to put my phone and my wallet there. And I actually would probably train this before, so that the motion of putting it in that pocket is already there, and so that I don't have to think, oh yeah, I have a new pocket for this now.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So you already have like the muscle memory of putting it away in that pocket and putting it away. So yeah, in the future, don't use that bag the very first time at the pen show. Like, get into a routine using it like months before if you can, so that by the time you get there, it's not completely new. Yes, you mentioned that in your recap video, that was one big thing that you struggled with, was just where your things were all the time.
Yeah. So I think I will definitely bring that. And I think I'm not, it's not taking up that much mental energy just to think, remember those 2 things all the time. Yeah.
Because of that, I mean, like, you have that to worry about, but then there is also a lot of people, and then just trying to make sure that you visited all the, the vendors that you wanted to visit. So yeah, it was definitely overwhelming, like watching everybody's recap videos. That was the general message that I was seeing, was that it was overwhelming because it was busy. And, I don't think I would have, one thing I would not have done differently, and I'm glad that I did do it, was pay for that early access pass for Saturday. It was a bit more expensive, but for me, it was having that peace of mind that I could go in those 2 hours at my own pace.
Yeah.
I even had the patience to look through Jonathan Brooks's table. You know how he just tosses all of his pens on the table? I had enough patience to actually stand there for a good 10 minutes and just patiently go through them.
Did you buy a pen from him?
I did not know, because the one that I wanted, the specific blank that I wanted, was not in a pen shape that would have suited my hand.
Okay.
So there were a few that I was looking at, but in the end, it wasn't the right fit for my hand.
Because I remember seeing 2, but I think maybe Maria bought one. I can't even put this together anymore. I saw 2 people buying from either Jonathan Brooks or Fountain Telling, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I spoke to Kristen as well, and it's funny. Her table was so organized. And Kristen is, for those who don't know, Jonathan Brooks's daughter, and she does her own blanks. But her side of the table was so
Yeah.
organized with displays and proper shelving for her pens, and then there's her dad, Jonathan, on the other end with just like you know yeah, all the he literally, I think, just takes the bin and turns it over and just lets all the pens fall on the table.
Yeah. I think that's his specific trademark, if I'm not mistaken. Is she also turning her own pens?
She's training as an apprentice under her dad, and I think she's got her own blanks that have come out, but she had a lot of selection for what she turned herself. And you can definitely tell there's a different style between what she does versus what her dad does. And I like that even with training under the same company, or training under her dad, there's still that difference in style.
Okay, so I have one more last thing on our list, and that was tips. Do you have any tips for first timers or even second and third timers?
I think I have a couple. First is, and we did this, both of us, is come up with a list of the vendors that you want to see, pens you want to try, nibs you want to try. And then when they finally release the show map, print out the map and write down where all the vendors you want to see are, so that you know exactly where you want to go beforehand. So you're not wandering aimlessly through the crowd of people, because even trying to get around all of those people, even if you know where you're going, can be difficult. So having a plan beforehand of what you want to try, and which vendors you want to see, I think is just a really good plan of action to help ease some anxiety.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
who was it that said this? I think it was Nadia who mentioned, like, you need to have snacks and water with you. So I didn't carry a big backpack. I had a little crossbody bag that had enough to fit like my wallet, phone, water bottle, and some snacks. And that was helpful. That was really helpful. But I also had a little hand fan, actually, because at some points it got really warm
Okay.
in the show. So snacks, water. And then I think my last one is take breaks. Take breaks, because it can get overwhelming. And where the show is located, you're in a hotel, so you can go out and get some fresh air. You can go out, get a coffee. So taking a break can help ease your mind, help ease some of that overwhelm, and help you make a better decision about what you want to buy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with all the things that you said. I also brought snacks and water. One thing that was problematic for me was actually going. So I would plan this whole thing out, and then I would get cold feet the day before. And then I was so tempted to cancel. So last year, I actually asked my friend if she would give me a ride so that I couldn't cancel. And this year, I asked my husband if he would come with me. And so I trapped myself into that. Okay,
There's no getting out.
No, there's no getting out, and it helped definitely, because I probably wouldn't have gone last year. I'm not sure if I canceled this year, because I talked about it so much on YouTube that I would have felt so weird if I had said, "Oh well, sorry, I didn't go." But yeah,
It's funny that you say that, because I felt the same way the week leading up to the show. I was so anxious and saying to myself, why did I do this to myself? Why did I book this? Why did I think this is a good idea? And I kept thinking that way up until I got on the plane, and I'm like, okay, we're doing this. These are non-refundable. I have to go.
yeah.
So, but I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of people, when it comes to leading up to a big event, want to cancel.
Yeah. So find a plan on how you actually go, because I think you would, or I definitely enjoyed myself there. So it was just the actual going that was problematic. So find a way to mitigate that and get a ride with a friend to go to the show.
I think that was a tough thing as well for people who were local. Parking was a huge issue for a lot of people who were there. Because I just took a shuttle from the airport, it wasn't a huge deal, but I know for a lot of people who are local to the show, parking was a huge issue. So I don't know what the best way to handle that would be in the future for those who are local to a Penn show.
I'm not sure, but I think there is BART.
Yes.
Yeah. Caltrain or something is like, should be right.
I thought it was like a 15-minute, it was only a 15-minute walk from the hotel, actually, when I checked. So yeah, public transport.
Okay.
So, or maybe even like, you know, if there's public transport to, maybe this is just a roundabout way of going about it, like to the airport and then take the hotel shuttle.
That probably works. Okay, so I think we're at the end.
I think we've talked about everything that we wanted to, plus a whole bunch of other stuff.
We did. Thanks everyone for watching. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that this video was interesting, not just for us too, but for everybody else watching. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on your channel, Simona.
Yeah, for sure. We will see you all next time with another video, and bye.